Hi friends, Miss Larkin here, and we're getting ready to start lesson number 8 for Too Good for Drugs. So last time we were together, we reviewed 9 refusal strategies, plans of action, that we can use to refuse negative peer pressure. So today what we're going to do to start off is we're going to review those 9 because they're really important. I'm going to read you a scenario, and then I want you to guess which of the 9 refusal strategies is being used. So go ahead and follow along in your worksheet as we do this. Scenario number 1. Come on, let's skip school today. I don't skip school. Don't be such a chicken. I don't skip school. Just do it. We won't get caught. I don't skip school. Which strategy is being used in this scenario? You'll notice at the top of your worksheets, I listed all 9 for you. So take 1 minute and figure out which strategy is being used in scenario number 1. If you picked broken record, you're absolutely right. Remember, broken record is we repeat ourselves over and over and over again, as many times as we need until the other person gets so annoyed they just leave us alone. Scenario number 2. Hey, let's jump on top of the lunchroom table and pretend we are rock stars. Sasha walks away from Donna. Take 1 minute and figure out which refusal strategy was used in this scenario. Okay. If you guessed walk away, you'd be totally right. Sasha thought of a safe place to go and she walked away from Donna and headed to that safe place. Scenario number 3. Let's steal those pencils from the teacher's desk. Jason ignores Tyson. Take 1 minute and figure out which refusal strategy is being used in this scenario. If you guessed ignored, you'd be absolutely right. Remember, when we ignore somebody, we pretend that they aren't there or that we didn't hear what they're saying. Scenario number 4. I dare you to climb over the fence that says that has the no trespassing sign on it. That sign says no trespassing on it. I could get in big trouble. Take 1 minute and figure out which refusal strategy is being used. If you picked state the facts, you're absolutely right. Because Sasha told Donna the consequences of what could happen, the facts of what could happen if she fell for Donna's negative peer pressure. Scenario number 5. Lie to the teacher and say you forgot your lunch money and see if she gives you a couple of dollars. No way! Which refusal strategy did Jason use? If you said say no, you're absolutely right. Because remember, say no is where we use 1, 2, maybe 3 words to say no in an assertive tone. Scenario number 6. Come to the park with me. You don't need your parents' permission. I can't. I have too much homework and too many chores to do. What refusal strategy is Sasha using in this scenario? If you said make an excuse, great. That's absolutely right. Sasha came up with a realistic reason why she can't go to the park without her parents' permission. She's got a lot of homework or chores to do. Scenario number 7. Let's sneak into the gym and deflate all the dodgeballs. I have a better idea. Let's go to the gym and play a game of table tennis instead. What refusal strategy is Jason using? If you said a better idea, amazing job. Jason came up with something better and safe and healthy that he and Tyson could do instead. Scenario number 8. If you were my friend, you would do my homework for me. If you were my friend, you wouldn't pressure me. What refusal strategy is Sasha using this time? If you said that she's reversing the pressure, you'd be right. So remember, when we reverse the pressure, we want to put the pressure back on the other person to think about whether or not they're being a good friend. We don't want to be mean, but we do want them to think about if they're being a good friend or not. Scenario number 9. Hey, I told you to come to the party on Saturday because no parents would be there, but you never showed. Jason avoided the party on Saturday. What refusal strategy did Jason use? If you said that he used steer clear, you'd be right. Because Jason knew that going to a party with no parents was a terrible idea. So he just didn't go at all. He completely avoided the situation. He steered clear of it. Amazing job. So we reviewed all 9 of our refusal strategies. Now let's get started on today. So today we're going to be talking about a drug. A drug is something that a person puts in their body to change the way that their body and their brain works. Sometimes it's like a prescription or over-the-counter medicine that helps us when we're sick. And sometimes a drug is an illegal substance that people put in their body to change the way that they feel. The drug we're going to be talking about today is illegal for people under the age of 21 to use. That drug is alcohol. Alcohol is damaging to our growing brains and bodies. There are 3 different types of alcohol. There's beer, there's wine, and there's liquor. All of them have alcohol in them, so they all affect your brain and your body. Think about it like this. If I gave you a Pop-Tart and I gave you a bowl of jelly beans and I gave you a soda and you had any one of those, the sugar's probably going to make you a little hyper because they all have sugar in it, even though they look different. Alcohol is the same way. Beer, wine, and liquor all have alcohol in them, and alcohol damages my brain and my body. So someone might say to you, oh, it's okay, it's just beer, it's fine. Nope, because it has alcohol in it, and that damages us. Alcoholic beverages may look different, but they all have alcohol in it, and they all can affect us. Someone might try to pressure you by saying something like, oh, everybody does it. Is that true? No way. Miss Larkin doesn't drink ever, not ever. And you know what? Most kids don't either, because they know about the harmful effects of alcohol, and they know that it can be damaging. And underage drinking is illegal. So most kids don't use alcohol. Follow along on your worksheet. Look at the section titled Functions of Your Brain. Your brain is like a computer. It controls different functions of your body. I'm going to ask you some questions or to complete a task, and then I'll tell you what part of your brain is used to answer that question or complete that task. Ready? First question. What did you have for breakfast yesterday morning? Do you remember? Well, if you do remember or you're trying to remember, you're using the part of your brain called the hippocampus. Hippocampus controls my memory. Next question. Would you rather be able to fly or to stop time? Well, whichever you decided, you had to make a decision. So that means you used your frontal lobe because it controls things like decision and judgment. Now, it's important that we know this one special thing because the frontal lobe is Miss Larkin's most favorite part of the brain. But it's also one of the very last places to finish growing. Your frontal lobe is at the very front of your brain, and it helps us make good and healthy decisions. And as we're growing, that part of our brain is growing, so our ability to make better decisions keeps getting better. So think about it like this. When you were 5, would you make the same choices then as you do now? Probably not, because your frontal lobe is growing and you're making better choices. And that same thing happens as we get older. Your brain is going to keep growing until you're about 25 years old. So that's why it's so important, especially when we're under 25, to make sure that we're checking every one of our decisions with people. Is it a good decision? Is it a bad decision? Okay, maybe not every decision, but some of the bigger ones. Next up, I want you to step back from your computer or your tablet for just a minute, stand on one foot, and try to touch your nose. Did you do it? Do you know what part of your brain you use to make that happen? You used your cerebellum because your cerebellum helps control your balance and coordination. Take a deep breath. If you did that, you used your brainstem because your brainstem controls your breathing. Can you count to 3 in another language? I'll help you if you can. Uno, dos, tres. So if you can count to 3 in a different language, you used a part of your brain called the temporal lobe because your temporal lobe controls your speech and your language. How many fingers am I holding up? If you said 3, that means you used your occipital lobe. Your occipital lobe helps control your vision. Now let's see if we can find our pulse. You might be able to find it in your wrist, but probably best in your neck. See if you can find it. Take a look. If you're able to find it, you have it no matter what, I promise. Your brain is using your hypothalamus to control your heart rate. So like I mentioned earlier, your brain is growing and developing until you're about 25 years old. Now, this doesn't mean you stop learning at 25. It just means your brain is done growing and developing. So think about it like this. Eventually, one day, you're going to stop getting taller. But that doesn't mean you can't get stronger. You could always go to the gym and lift weights or run on a treadmill. There's always ways to get stronger, no matter how old you are. And your brain's the same way. It can learn well past 25, but it's done growing and developing by then. But so that's why it's so important that before 25, we're doing extra special careful things to help our brain grow healthy and strong. And those things include not using drugs and alcohol before then. Because if we use things before then, it tends to damage the way that our brain develops and grows. And we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that you take very good care of your brain. Let's explore how alcohol use can affect your brain. Take a look at your worksheet. Look at the section titled Effects of Alcohol Use. You'll notice that on the left side of the left column lists the areas of your brain, and on the right lists the effects of alcohol use on your brain. You're going to draw a straight line from the area of the brain to how it affects the brain. You'll see that the hippocampus was done for you. It says the hippocampus is connected to the statement that says alcohol use can cause memory loss and affect a person's ability to learn. And if you need any help, take a look at just above that on your worksheet. And there's a list of how the areas of your brain and what they control in your body. So go ahead, take 5 minutes and do that now, and then we'll check your answers. talked about the hippocampus, we learned that alcohol use can cause memory loss and affect a person's ability to learn. Where'd you connect the temporal lobe to? If you picked alcohol use can impair a person's ability to speak clearly, causing slurred speech, you're right. The frontal lobe goes with alcohol use can impair a person's ability to think clearly and make good decisions. Because remember, that frontal lobe helps us make good decisions and sound judgments. Cerebellum is connected to alcohol use can slow down a person's reflexes, causing a loss of balance and coordination. Brainstem, alcohol use can slow down a person's breathing, causing them to pass out. So remember, that brainstem is what controls my breathing. Occipital lobe. Alcohol use can impair a person's ability to see clearly, causing blurred vision. And finally, hypothalamus. Alcohol use can slow down a person's heart rate, causing exhaustion. Sometimes our friends are going to have false ideas about alcohol use and its effects. They might try to get us to believe them too. They may have gotten these ideas from TV, from music, maybe even their own family that doesn't know. We're going to practice our refusal skills in situations where our friends are telling us false information, because we want to make sure that you have the correct information so that you can refuse the negative peer pressure that you might get to try to drink alcohol. So take a look at your worksheet in the section titled Refuse to Use. In each scenario, someone expresses a false idea about alcohol and uses that idea to pressure their friends to drink. A fact about the effects of alcohol use follows the false idea, so friends remember what really happens to the brain from alcohol use. Each scenario also has a refusal strategy listed. I want you to use that refusal strategy to refuse the negative peer pressure to drink alcohol in that particular situation. So let's do an example together. Arnold thought he and his friends would have more fun playing video games if they drank alcohol, so Arnold pressured them to drink. The fact is, alcohol use could slow down their breathing, causing them to feel lightheaded and possibly pass out. In this scenario, I'm asking you to use state the facts. And that means to tell the person pressuring you the possible consequences of doing what they want you to do. And then you would write, how would you refuse? If we drank alcohol, we would not have more fun playing video games because alcohol could make us pass out. Make sense? I think it does. Go ahead and finish the rest of the scenarios, and I'm going to give you 10 minutes and then we'll check our answers. Let's take a look at what you came up with. So for scenario number 1, it says Polly thought her and her friends would look smarter playing the board game if they drank alcohol, so Polly pressured them to drink. The fact is that alcohol would interfere with their ability to keep up with the game or remember whose turn it is. I asked you to use the broken record strategy, which is where you repeat yourself over and over again. So you might have said, I don't drink, I don't drink, I don't drink. However many times it takes, you would just repeat that over and over and over again. Scenario number 2 says, Wilson thought he and his friends would be better dancers at the party if they drank alcohol. So Wilson pressured them to drink. The fact is that alcohol would interfere with their ability to hold a beat or keep their balance. The refusal strategy I asked you to use was to make an excuse, which is a realistic reason to not go along with the other person's suggestion. So you might have said, oh, I can't, these aren't right shoes for dancing. Or maybe, oh, I can't, I promised this other person I'd go over and dance with them right now. Sorry, can't drink. Scenario 3 says, Lucy thought she and her friends would have more confidence to talk to their crushes if they had a drink of alcohol first. So Lucy pressured them to drink. The fact is that alcohol would interfere with their ability to speak clearly and be understood. I asked you to use the refusal strategy, state the facts. That's where you tell the person pressuring you the possible consequences of doing what they want you to do. So you might have said, actually, Lucy, you know what? If I drink alcohol, I'm not going to be able to speak clearly. I'm going to have slurred speech because it affects that part of my brain. Scenario number 4 says, Martin thought he and his friends would look cool at the football game if they were drinking alcohol, so Martin pressured them to drink. The fact is, alcohol would interfere with their ability to see. They would probably stumble into people because of their blurred vision, or have to ask someone for help to see the scoreboard. I asked you to use the refusal strategy, a better idea. That's where you suggest something else to do that would be safe and healthy. So maybe you said, actually, Martin, I have a better idea. How about I go grab us a soda from the concession stand? Scenario number 5 says, Fiona thought she and her friends would be more likable if they drank alcohol, so Fiona pressured them to drink. The fact is that alcohol would interfere with their ability to make good decisions. They might say or do things they wouldn't normally do, causing people not to like them. I asked you to use the refusal strategy, reverse the pressure. That's where we put the pressure back on the other person. We aren't mean, but we make sure that we get them to think about whether or not they're being a good friend. You might have said, if you were my friend, you wouldn't be asking me to be somebody that I'm not. All right, amazing job today. A healthy brain is necessary for your healthy future and your ability to reach your goals. Significant negative side effects of alcohol use on your brain and body's development can interfere with your ability to reach your goals. So I'll see you back here next time for lesson 9. Bye, friends.